Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Again, welcome to a brand new season of the Hard Zone. On the Hard Zone, we try to keep our conversation free from any bias, and just by way of disclaimer, all of the opinions and positions that will be offered on this network and this podcast tonight is not the official position of the network, but that of the individual panelists that will be offering them.
Having 4 people on the back of a taxi driver, you want to compare it with 6 people on the back of a motorcycle? Come on, bro, Sharif.
Donald Trump was a former president. His words are very powerful. You can't just accuse an entire community like that. It's wrong.
Listen, Walker, I was one of those people that he actually told me face to face in his home that I would declare my asset. I would make sure my officials declare their asset. In today's date, something as simple as that has not been done.
We are working. We are not going to allow this structure to have the opportunity for 6 years, and they never did anything besides stealing the Liberian people money.
We have to be honest here. This old man is one of the incompetent old men that I have ever seen.
We need to have someone who has the educational background as well as the field experience to be able to provide oversight.
All of what Kamala is promising now, the last 4 years, why haven't they done anything? She and Joe Biden.
Look, church leaders, if Liberia will be better, you must play your role.
It is too early to criticize Waka because it is the formation stage.
Again, I'm your host. My name is Derek Yale, and let's get started. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Let me say welcome to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale. I will be playing host tonight on Season 3, Episode 7 of The Hard Zone. If this is your first time joining us, by way of introduction, the Liberia Radio and Television Network is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia. And we also have our office open in Liberia for business. And you can find us on Facebook at the Liberia Radio and Television Network, or LRTN Live. And we also have our channel on YouTube, and we have a page on Instagram. For more information on developments in Liberia and the diaspora, you can check us out on our webpage, lrtn.net, where you can find resources on issues in Liberia and the diaspora. The Hard Zone tonight will present another episode, and that is episode 3 of season 7 of The Hard Zone. And The Hard Zone, if you've been here or if this is the first time joining us, is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions. And here on The Hard Zone, there's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. And just by way of disclaimer, all of the opinions and position that will be offered here on The Hard Zone tonight is not the official position of the network, but that of the panelists that will be offering them. Just to give you a heads up on what to expect on The Hard Zone tonight, we will bring you our current event, but because we're coming up very late, so we'll just skim through what we have in our current event folder. And then shortly after, we will introduce our panelists, introduce the conversation for the night, or whatever the panelists have on their mind. And after that, we'll take a couple of breaks. And after our last break, we'll ask our panelists to give you their closing remark, and then we will draw the curtain to this episode. But before we go any further, guys, let me ask all of you watching us right now to please do me a favor, share this program on your individual social media pages, and make sure you are following this network. So please make sure you're sharing this program so that you, your friends, and family may be able to benefit from the discussion we're about to have. With that being said, let me give you a rundown of what we have in our folder tonight. For current event, we have a lot of development coming out of Liberia. especially concerning the rigmarole at the legislature, specifically the House of Representatives. We have today Speaker Kofa declares executive plans to strip immunity, security amid refusal to resign. He did make a Facebook post where he actually said that his security detail will be withdrawn within the next 24 hours. I think we might have a picture of that post. And yes, I have officially been informed that all state security will be withdrawn tomorrow. These actions from the executive do not change the fact that I remain the Speaker of the House of Representatives. This only further strengthens my resolve to fight for upholding the rule of law and the Liberian Constitution. So we will be having our conversation will be heavily surrounded around what's been going on at the House of Representatives in Liberia. So stay tuned. And also some parts of Africa, specifically Ghana. Ghana this week elected former President John Mahama. Ghana former President John Mahama wins elections. So for more on that development, please visit Al Jazeera page. And speaking of Al Jazeera, they're also reporting that the European Union Climate Monitor says that 2024 is certain to be the hottest year on record. So if you're interested in things like that, do yourself a favor, visit the Al Jazeera page, and you will get more on that development. And staying in the diaspora right here in the U.S., President Biden is commuting the sentences of nearly 1,500 people who were released from prison and placed on home confinement during the coronavirus, and is pardoning 39 Americans convicted of non-violent crimes. And that is the largest single-day act of clemency in modern history. So for more on that development, visit the cbsnews.com page, and you can actually have more information on President Joe Biden's largest single-day act of clemency in modern history. With that being said, let me now take this opportunity. And before I do again, let me ask all of you watching us to please make sure you're sharing this program. We have a lot on our agenda. We have a lot of things to discuss tonight. So please make sure you are following us. Make sure you're sharing this program on your individual social media pages. With that being said, let me introduce my panelists lined up for tonight. I'd like to start with the Bishop. Welcome to episode 3 of season 7. Bishop.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to all of you, great Liberians. I'm always delighted to have some constructive conversation for the betterment of Liberia. Tonight, I'm here all ready to defend the position of the government, and we are going to explain the rationale behind some of the development taking place in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great way to start. Defend the position of the government. Mr. Martin Boda, welcome to another episode.
Thank you, Derek, for having me, and thanks to being here again. And I say to my fellow panelists, I'm glad to see all of you again. Let's have some conversation regarding Liberia and the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Joel D. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dennis.
I'm sure you remember the name, right?
Yes, I know. I just read the name you have here. I'm like, where's this?
Before I got on the show tonight, I was thinking about shaving, but you inspired me. Maybe I'll grow my hair too. Thank you. Welcome back. It's been a minute. I know there's been a lot of happenings in Liberia. I'm excited to be here tonight to share some of my opinion on DC. So welcome to the fellow panelists. Good to meet all of you again. And I look forward to a good show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Woods II. Welcome to the show. You're on mute. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to have me here again. And I'm pleased to sit among these distinguished gentlemen to be able to talk what we know about Liberia and to give our own pieces of advices. If the government takes it, fine. If they don't, so be it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Don Prior Dennis. We have two Dennis on the show. Are you guys biologic, politically?
We related.
Dennis is again, Derek. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to, like the bishop said, to provide some constructive, to share some constructive ideas on the latest development back home and in the diaspora as well. So I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to a very understandable discussion.
Thank you guys very much. If you're watching us, or whether on Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the show. My name is Derek Yale. I will be playing host. You just been introduced to our panelists, except for one. We are welcome to the show.
Okay, Derek, thank you. Welcome, guys. Bishop, that's me a long time. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. If you've been following, let's just get right into the conversation. And if you've been following the development coming out of Liberia, we get people on different sides of this whole legislature issue. But don't take it from me. Let's hear from our panelists what is going on in Liberia. It seems like no understanding. The government just released, the executive branch just released their position. And we see Speaker Kofa. I guess it says Speaker Kofa because that's what the Constitution recognizes or so on. And today made a Facebook post, his security details being withheld within the next 24 hours. But let me bring this conversation to you guys. I would like to start with you, Bishop Hagar. You mentioned that you're here to defend the position of the government. Talk to us. What do you think is going on?
Well, what is going on is the testing of our democratic process. Everybody need to know that Kofa is no more speaker. The House of Representatives, the majority decided that his leadership was compromised. So for which reason they accuse him for what we call conflict of interest. And I hear a lot of Liberians talking about the due process being followed. And we are following the due process. The majority today decided that Speaker Kofa have lost the confidence of his colleague. And the speakership is not an inherent position. It is a position that you are benefiting from the confidence imposed in you by your colleague. They have to have a leader. They were all elected by their district. So by constitution, the House of Representatives have to have a speaker. So the 73 members of that house went together and voted Kofa as their speaker. They came up and said they have lost confidence. They cited a couple of reasons why they don't believe that Kofa is the person that can run the affair, including his deputy speaker. To come to that level, brothers and sisters, Liberian, you have to understand that it is a failure of political leadership on the part of Kofa. Because when you speak up, what you want to have is the vote. You want to always enjoy the confidence of your people. So if you don't enjoy the confidence of your people, it's an indication that you have lost the ability to lead. And it make it clear that there was conflict of interest with Kofa law firm working with other institutions of government. Of course, I don't see anybody addressing that. That is a conflict of interest. There's a policy, there's a code of conduct that the Liberian government has. You can't be speaker, then your law firm is in business and compromising. How will you make that kind of sound decision? So for that reason, he lost the confidence of his friends in the house, and they said they don't want him anymore. He decided to go to the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court decided was that, gentlemen, you have to go back to the status quo. According to the majority bloc, they have the vote, and that vote is legitimate. and they don't want him to be, and they decided voting off. He's still representative from his district, but he no more speaker. The executive has a right to do the business of the Liberian people. So the executive decided to let him know that, listen, my man, understand that you have lost the political capital. You cannot, even if we go back to the status quo, there's no way you can be speaker. So the right thing to do is just to resign. You cannot be with a woman that don't want you. And then you tell the woman, say, okay, you still want me because I'm going to your pa here, and your pa got to tell me, say, listen, the woman said, I don't want you. The woman got another man. It is just morally right for you to just say, listen, let me get it, let me let it go. So for you to go around and say, oh, because I'm going to your pa here, you still want me, I think it's just an indication that you ain't ready yet. The people say they don't want him. The majority say they don't want him. There's no ways Kofi can be speaker. And let him just do the right thing. It will just be to his own interest to just resign and just leave that thing alone, because no way he can become speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. We have a lot of panelists here, but you raised some very key points that I would love to ask follow-up question on, but I will come back to you on that. Let me hear from Mr. Bodad. According to Bishop Hager, this is a testing of the democratic process. Go ahead, Mr. Bodad.
You know, I want to disagree with my bishop profoundly. The fact that we have a government, we have a democracy, we have a House of Representatives, we have separate branches of government. And this House elected a speaker. And that speaker was elected by the very House. He spoke about conflict of interest. The very House knew Kofi had been in our House as the deputy speaker under Buffer Chima, running the same law firm. They knew all of this and they elected him as speaker. So those are just propaganda. Secondly, there is a rule in the House that says two-thirds of the House should agree to offset the speaker. That is our own rule, and that's conformed with our Constitution. Nobody arguing that Buffer should be a speaker, but we are country of law, not of men. You know, and I'm disappointed in our president, Mr. Bogart, that we stood to elect him to stir the affair of the state. He had all the things that he could have done as his president to let the House drown themselves in the river. It's not about budget. There are other tools in the toolbox that he will have used along with the Senate to run the affair of the state and let the House decide on their leadership. For recognizing majority black, this is a wrong precedent we set in our democracy, in our rule of law, and that's set our way back. So I'm disappointed, my brother, to sit here tonight that we spoke against the we-are-led government about impropriety, and he sit here today to pretend that what happened is right. That is ruining the eyes of our generation to come. So I hope that the Liberian people will learn today, and removing security, that's not the president's place now. He's being partial. I know they wanted whoever they elected as speaker at first to be speaker of the House. So don't try to circumvent the system to bring us to usher in your choice of speaker. That's very wrong. And I'm disappointed in the government.
Thank you. Disappointed in the government, disappointed in
Can I just say something?
Bishop Hager will come back to you, but
I need to say something to but this speakership, all the political configuration in our House, including opposition political representative, all voted against him. So it's not a government thing. CDC representative even voted against Kofi. So don't come make it as a unity party thing. I wanted to be very clear. So he might understand that all the different political configurations voted against Kofi. So you shouldn't come and say it's a government thing. No.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. I will give you ample time to appropriately respond to whatever panelist that you would like to rebuttal to. But let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis Joa.
Look, this whole debacle is frankly quite confusing and quite opaque, because when you think about what's happening here, we don't really have any real answers to whether there is the rule being broken or not. One side said that the majority black, the other side said they don't have the votes. And it's a simple thing. Do they have the votes? Is this thing transparent enough? If they have the votes, why not just come out and do an up and down ballot and let the Liberian people know? Stop confusing people. There is no need to keep. And quite frankly, I believe Mr. Kofa have lost the confidence of his colleagues, because this truly is an intra-party fight between CDC and his group. He's lost. But we do need to know if they have 49 to remove the speaker, he should leave. If they don't have the 49, he should stay. We don't know the exact number, and that's what's confusing all of us. Do they have it, or they don't have it? That's what I need to know.
They had it. 50 representatives signed it. So they said they played it, signed it, was not a replica. But you gotta tell the people they have the numbers.
Bishop Hagar, I will come to you after I've gotten all of the panelists official position or initial position, and then I will come to you for any rebuttal. But let's hear from you, Mr. Wood, the second. Mr. Wood, the second.
Well, to be honest with you, the first thing, I never believe in this government. I never supported this government because from the onset, they're no different from the government of the CDC. And if you can recall, the first concern of the Unity Party chair by President Baka was to make sure he had a House of Senate, which he has with Yombli Kanga. He wanted to make sure he can have his own guy, the Kun guy who they kind of overthrew Kofa with. They went to the race. In fact, before the race, he had called Musa Bilete. 1 minute, Bishop. President Baka had called Musa Bilete to plead with him to give way for his Unity Party guy to take the speakership. That didn't work. He called Kofa, the same thing at her house. It was on TV. So he was lobbying with all the guys to make sure that the Unity Party have, you know, when you have a lazy president who don't want to work, that's what they opt for. They look for easy way to just have all their praise singers around them. So I am not surprised. Few months after he took power, they started bribing lawmakers like they did. And this is a Unity Party thing. The same thing Ellen Selly did with what the guy named Edwin Snow, the 5,000. That was the same 5,000 they started sharing with lawmakers. And Yeke Kolba, who was a strong supporter of the Unity Party, frowned at it. He went and raised a concern that, look, this government is giving up money to unseat this speaker. I didn't vote for this speaker, but I'm going to make sure that this speaker is not unseated because it's going to be a bad precedent. And that sense made until today. So I am not surprised. This government of the Unity Party don't mean well for Liberia. Is Kofa, Kun is Speaker of the House. What they're going to change? What they plan? What the benefit going to bring to the Liberian people? Ain't got no benefit. All they want to do is the same old thing, shift money here and there, and run after it, they share it, and they just tell that the country got money and it will be big in China, third world countries. Look, Liberia ain't going nowhere, man. Unity Party is a disappointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wood the second. Let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis Down.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I've listened and listened. And the part in the last episode, I stated that I strongly believe that Speaker Kofa should have been given the due process, and that was not given to him. But as we see now and look at the media and see what is unfolding, Speaker Kofa himself is losing ground in his own background. I listened to other speakers, I think District 3 representative, and he's going to cross over. As we speak now, in the next couple of days, a lot of people who are with Speaker Kofa will be crossing over to the majority black. This is very concerning. Now, two different branches of government. You have the executive and you have the legislature. Now, they are not holding. So you know what happened? It gives the executive the upper hand to do what they want to do. So they take advantage of what is happening now. And one thing that I think Liberians are following is that the majority of blacks is working. They're discussing the budget. budgets will be approved. Why the minority are still holding on, still they are still in power, the majorities are working, and things being done in the interest of the country. So we got to be very careful how we address this issue as to where it has gotten now. So, and my concern, another concern is that when the House got to know that there was conflict of interest with Speaker Kufuor? Just now? When? Do they know that he's a lawyer? He's part of a law firm? Were they aware of it and he was elected? So we got to be very careful, and I want to discuss this in detail. And our dear Bishop there, Bishop, in most part of it is that our legislators themselves probably don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I will stop there for now.
Thank you. Our lawmakers don't know what they're doing. I'll come back to you to expand on that. But let's hear from you, Mr. Jarwinkin Weir. You're on mute.
Thank you, Derek. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Thank you, fellow panelists. Listen to everybody. As I said before during my last appearance here, we don't put the country first. We refuse to learn from the mistake of the past. We have had a war for someone refusing or clinging to right that I have the right to be president, so I must be. But the fact of the matter is, no matter whichever position you are, speaker, president, representative, minister, the people you are serving are the Liberian people. I don't want to look into whether Kufuor is right or not, but he has been a distraction for the Liberian people. If you truly love Liberia, he is still represented. He was elected. He made a point. We argue. We are seeing the same thing here in the United States, where someone said, "Well, I'm the distraction." Since the episode started, the work of the Liberian people have been done. So, what I am saying in short, my part is, or my opinion is, for the sake of the Liberian people, it was in the interest of Kufuor for him to be more respected. He could have just resigned and said, "Look, this is the situation." He could come back again and contest another point, another position. I said it during last time when the war came in Liberia, for those of us who were there, when the American government offered Doe a passage, Doe refused. He said he was right. He was being forced. Yes, he was being forced, but the Liberian people were at risk. So we need to learn from the past. Yes, there's a bad precedent, but if you do something that you know that is affecting the Liberian people, the purpose of anybody in power in Liberia is for the people of Liberia. Article 1 of the Constitution says, when there is a conflict in the Congress, nothing will be done for the Liberian people. Kufuor is still representative. Kufuor can still contest for a better position aside from this. I am not backing what is going on. I know there is a problem in Liberia. This current government, whether it's performing well or not, is another thing. But we need to look at people as individuals. Where is the patriotism? You clinching the right. If you say you are resigning, you are not resigning. If you cannot perform in the position, it means that you are not serving Liberian people. So my point is, it is good or in the interest of Liberian people for Kufuor to just let it go, let it remain a representative. The other part will come, but you should put the Liberian people first.
Thank you, Mr. Jarwinkin. I have a question, but I promise to go back to Bishop Hager for any rebuttal, and then I'll come back to you right after. Bishop Hager.
I'm listening to you.
Yes. You you listen to Mr. Jai Winkin, we are in his position aligns with the one of the lawmakers from Babolo County, and that is Amara Conan. What he's basically just saying, for the sake of the Liberian people, just step aside. I want to hear, like, what do you think about that, or that rationale when it comes to things like that? The old Liberian way, for Jellyfish will go and just walk away. But what about setting the precedent for things to be done the right way? What do you think about that mindset of just letting it go and just stepping away, Bishop Hager?
Thank you very much. I don't want to approach the issue from a simplistic and say, "Oh, the man is being what we call a sacrificial lamb for Liberian people. Let it go." Speaker, when you're a speaker of a parliament, and my honorable Dan didn't know he been in leadership at different level. You play your politics to get the cohesiveness in your leadership.
Yeah.
If you lose that cohesiveness, it's an indication that you don't have leadership. You don't have, for the man, his assistant, his deputy speaker to vote against it. Do you know what it means? What are you guys talking? The man lost the vote of the majority. It's an indication of poor leadership. He doesn't have the vote. It happened here. The speaker of the Congress here, he said, Kevin McCarthy said he never had a vote. So he left it. And that's it. That's leadership. That's the managing people. They are responsible lawmakers. To be their leader, you got to play your political game. You must be able to put the guys into your corner. He lost it. The people here making laws, oh, the president. What president?
There's nothing about president.
Hey, let him go.
Thank you, Bishop Hager. Let's move this question over to you, Mr. Dennis Joel. What do you think about what Mr. Jai Winkin we are saying? Let's just let it go for the sake of for the Liberian people. Even though Fanatic Kofa thinks that he's not afforded his due process, what's being done is not in line with the Constitution. It's unlawful. But Mr. Jai Winkin Weah and his position along with that of the Senator, the lawmaker from Babolo County, Amara Conan, just let it go for the sake of the Liberian people. What do you make of that?
Well, I kind of agree with Bishop Hager on this. Look, this is not a constitutional issue. This is rules. This is no different from if somebody works at a company and the company have rules. Don't wear this type of hairstyle. You'll get fired. These people set their own rules up. These are three separate co-equal branches of government. The Supreme Court has nothing to do with the rules. This is not a constitutional issue. Look, Kofa they can come into there and say, Speaker Kofa, you're too short. We don't want you anymore. You're too dumb. Right. You're too ugly. They can say whatever they want to say. That's the rules. This is not a constitutional issue. And that's what we need to understand. This is not, a court can't decide this. It's no different than the process, the rules that the Supreme Court sets for itself. So, and to be honest with you, this is not a situation where we have to say, let it go. No, he lost the confidence of his colleagues. Remember, this is CDC we're talking about here. This is their party that's fighting each other. This is not a matter of Unity Party or some other invisible hand in the background. This is an open fight in broad daylight. So yes, if he's voted out, he should go. This is simple. This is not about Mr. Kofa. You know, if once he's gone, if they want to investigate how he got his bank, how he's got $11 million, how he got 20 cars, they should do that. They should do all of that. But right now, they can vote him out because he's just too short. That's their prerogative. So I agree. I agree with Mr. Hager, Bishop Hager.
Thank you, Mr. Boda. Let's hear from you before we come to you, Mr. Boda or Mr. Dennis. Let's recognize the presence of Councilor Freeman.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me, Derek.
Thank you. Now let's, Mr. Dennis. Before I come to you, Mr. Boda, I don't know if you had a rebuttal, and then I'll go to Mr. Boda.
You know, my thing of the whole discussion is this. You know, you said do unto other as you want done to you. We go that route now. What if similar situation arise in the future, how do we approach it? That's where, so Bishop, when you hear people saying set precedent, it is in that direction. Because today is Speaker Kofa, and we're saying that he should give in, which is fine, because he was not given the due process, and I continue to say this. If that was something that was given him, and the colleagues found out that they took the vote of no confidence in him, that's fine. But that was not done to him. Secondly, for his part, he's losing ground, like I said earlier. He doesn't have enough people to support him, but now the minority is getting getting the deeper and deeper problem than it should have been. I thought they would be gaining people over, but they're losing. People are crossing over to the majority. So I'm strongly still believe that, and I think I agree with Dennis, you that said that I spoke about, or Mr. Weir that spoke about letting it go in the interest of the people. Because none of them was elected as Speaker of the House.
Right.
They were elected as representative of the legislature from their constituents in the district. So that is something that was given to them based on their ability their colleagues felt that their ability to lead them in the House. So if that vote of no confidence in you that's been taken against you, then I think you should give in and say, look, in the interest of our country and our people, let it be and move on. So that's my add to that.
Thank you. Let's hear from you, Mr. Boda.
Quite interesting. Excuse my voice. It's kind of nobody arguing about the removal of Kofa. The House got all right to moving whenever they want to, but their own rules that is set aside to govern that process should be respected. That is what we're talking about. It's not about moving Kofa. Kofa has lost confidence in the House. But if the proceeding of that process should be done in accordance with law of their own rules, and they say true chair, that true chair is 49 of the senators and representatives should be to go into the chamber and vote up and down. Why is it so difficult if you are majority black? Why don't you go through the process? Why are you telling our generation we build a democracy, the rule of law? We want to build a nation of law, not of men. And your House of Representatives are now violating their own rules that is our own laws that conform with our Constitution. And yeah, we're talking about, let's forget it. Yeah, we'll forget it because somebody's political interest is being achieved because somebody want to muscle somebody and get them out. It's being achieved. But think about the future of Liberia. What happened? We did the same thing to Samuel Doe today. What was the outcome when we did it to Samuel Doe? We saw the destruction across our nation. We did it to Toba. We grabbed all water, we killed everybody, put it on the pole today. We went put on the pole and we slaughtered 13 guys on the pole for our rampant corruption. How many people have we put on the pole again for rampant corruption since 1980 to now? We see people start money in our bags in the part of Liberia every day. But yeah, we say forget it, and we talk about building a nation. Oh yeah, we have nation of law. You know how much respect we lost in our community of nations. We rank the lawyers when it comes to law and order. What kind of country do we want to see in Liberia? What kind of country are we building? What kind of lawmaker do we have? Irresponsible people who cannot conduct law and order. And yeah, we sit there and talk about, y'all forget it, y'all leave it, and then stuff. It's not about Kofa, it's about the nation of Liberia. If we don't take this seriously, tomorrow we'll be at the same conversation here again, talking about moving another speaker. This very Kun that we're talking about today, Kun was in the line to be speaker. The House of Representatives knew that Kofa has a law firm that was representing Medicine or all the country they were there. He served as deputy speaker for 6 years. A law firm, and was still maintaining a law firm, and a law firm was the companies. So let us stop playing phone around here, and I'm disappointed seriously in Bwaka being the early statesman that we thought he was to negotiate and be able to come up with solutions for power in Liberia and become a part of the problem. It's a shame to our nation. I can say that. I'm sorry, man.
Well,
Thank you.
I have a question. I have a question.
The president played his role by calling the speaker, honoring him, playing the right thing to do. But you got to answer those things. Don't just leave it hanging like that.
I will
the
have
president play his follow the role.
I will give
speaker, the COFA listen to the president. You have to say that. Be balanced here.
Man. Stop this.
I have a question, though. I have a question.
Why would you recognize it called majority block? What is called majority block in a constitution?
Thank
I
you.
have a question. So I have a question, Mr. Boda. Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
I'm just confused. I'm confused about something. I'm confused. Maybe for everybody, somebody can help me because I'm confused.
Yes.
The process that is being used to remove the speaker.
Yes.
Right? That's what you have a problem with. You don't have a problem with, but do you have a problem with what he's being accused of?
It's an allegation.
Okay, fine, fine. But again, I'm just confused. If you have 49 people ready to remove this speaker, and they agreed to remove the speaker, what is the problem with that?
We don't have 49 people yet.
Oh, we don't.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm confused about
That's
because I
the
thought we
problem.
had the 49. So okay,
No,
that's
we
what
don't
I'm
have
confused about.
49. We don't have a two-thirds to remove the man. That's the problem.
But they have the quorum. But they have the quorum because they are doing the Liberian people work. They are working now.
No. That quorum business, brother.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Mr. Dennis,
that's not the system. People, because the president had overstepped his bound and working with becoming a part of the problem. That's why you see what we have today. He should be able to work with the Senate, not the House. The president got all ready to work with the Senate and leave the House alone. They can solve that problem. The Constitution provide room for him to do a lot of stuff that he can do as a president. He doesn't have to be with the House. If the House cannot function, the president can function with the Senate and they take a decision. And the Liberian people will support that. Don't be a part of the problem.
Thank you, Mr. Boda. Let's hear from Mr. Woods, and then we'll come to you, Councilor Freeman. Let me bring this question over to you. You've been listening to the other panelists. It seems that some of our panelists, it seems to agree with the mindset that Fonatic Kofa should just leave it alone or let bygone be bygone for the sake of the Liberian people. And before I ask you this question, let me ask my production team to put up this post from Mr. Kofa again. The latter part of this post where he said this only further strengthens my resolve to fight for upholding the rule of law and the Liberian Constitution. Now, Mr. Wu, my question is, considering that post, the latter part of that post, isn't it in the best interest of the Liberian people that not just Fonatic Kofa, but every lawmaker should fight for upholding the rule of law and the Constitution instead of just letting it go when you feel like we want in the best interest of the Liberian people, when you feel like, even though things are not being done the right way, the Constitution is being violated and people are not following the rule of law. Isn't it in the best interest of the Liberian people for you to stay put and make sure that things are being done the right way? Mr. Wood.
I stand 100% with a post. I stand 100% with Councilor Fonatic Kofa. I'm not a sedition. I'm not a UPS. I don't support the party that Fonatic Kofa comes from, but I support the fact that he stands for protecting the rule of law in our country. You see, our country have come to the point where the rule of law has been abused. And it is because of the breakdown of rule of law that we are here today. And if you see people, most especially we that live in the diaspora, I always say in the layman sense that we who live in the diaspora, we have two eyes. Those are our brothers and sisters that have not left the soil of Liberia, they got one eye. And the reason I say this is because we see how these people conduct their environment, how they conduct their communities, how they conduct their country. You know, it is a good thing to compare because the same fire senses the guys have, it's the same fire senses we have. But why we always like to compromise, talking about let it go, let bygone be bygone. Why if the people of Bapolo get up to the 250 people get up and tell Amara Corner, we don't want you as senator of this of our county? Is he going to agree? Is he going to say, let me abide by what the citizen of this county said? None of that will listen to. Why if we mobilize 250,000 people to jump in the streets of Monrovia, would the executive say, it is the right of these people Let them go and demonstrate their franchise. Let them go and demonstrate their right to speak to their government, to see the government. They will not do it. They will start using pepper spray. They will start Liberians will always have crisis because we always support this wrong when they are happening in our country. Just like my brother said, we had 1980, all the other crises that got out to where we are today. Why we a president? Why we always want to groom a supremacy president who one man will want everything his way? And everybody, not everybody, but most people will want it, and they want everyone else to agree that they man want to have Speaker honor his win. You want to have the Senate pro tem honor his win. You want to have the Chief Justice. What's that? If he's not a smart man, he's going to dump this country. The country is not going nowhere. For the past 44 years, Liberia got nothing to show, not any serious concession. All the concession they have brought to Liberia have been 419 just to benefit government officials. The government officials from the past, including the government official of today, that have been there just for 10 months, they are richer than the country. They don't have no good intention. Bringing Kun is a what? They call him a mathematics genius or what have you. Kofa is a lawyer. The House of Senate need lawyers. Everyone in them, Kun, every one of you guys, they're tumbling with the interpretation of the court ruling. Look, it's just a shame that most of us in the diaspora will be here supporting the wrongs in Liberia because of our personal interest. It's not going to take us anywhere. In the next few months, it's going to be another drama. 11 months gone, the government have not achieved anything. The Liberian people have not benefited. So their mission of getting Kun up is not in the interest of the country, but it's in the interest of them themselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wood. The second, let's hear from you, Councillor Freeman. Give us your take on all of that. I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation. Yeah,
I had to unmute myself. Sorry for that delay. Look, we are almost at a standstill now, right? What I would like to say is that the Constitution is the organic law of the land. It takes precedent over everything. In this case, the Constitution is very clear on what constitutes a quorum, on what the procedure is to remove a speaker or his deputy. The House own rules adopts the constitutional provision on the House Rule 12.1, I think 12.4 are cited by both the petitioner and the respondent. Their rule adopt the constitutional provision, what is required. To remove a speaker, you have to file a motion, right? You have to ask the speaker to recuse himself from that hearing. You have to get at least 2/3. And then more importantly, under Article 20 of the Constitution, you have to accord the speaker, in this case, due process of law. And I know most people use the word due process, but here's what due process actually is on its face. In other words, the speaker should be able to confront his accusers. He should be able to put up witnesses in his own defense. He should be able to produce evidence in his own defense. That's due process. That's what the Constitution requires. That's why the process as laid out in the House own rules. Now, in this particular case, I noticed that we filed a bill of no confidence. A bill of no confidence is not what is required to remove a speaker. It's not what is required. Constitution clearly lays it out. And look, when the decision came out, I was one of those who took the position that the court didn't do a great job. And I still stand by that today. I've read the entire decision now, the 34, 35 pages decision. I believe the court did a very poor job. Okay? I've read many court decisions in my lifetime, almost 13 years of practicing law. The decision, the outcome of it is that Kofa won. I get it. He won. But the court did a poor job in actually enumerating their opinion. This is part of the reason we have the minister is interpreting it one way. You have Gonglo then saying Kofa won, and other people are saying different things. The court could have avoided all of that by being very clear in its decision. It did not do that. That's part of why we have the problem today. Now we know that Kofa today filed bill of information with the court. He's asking the court basically to clarify his opinion. He clearly states, he said, I'm asking the court to declare, not only should the court declare ultra vires, but the court should also declare the actions unconstitutional, the majority action unconstitutional. If you look at the decision from the court did not even use the word unconstitutional in its last opinion, in the actual opinion. But that's the problem. When Kofa filed his petition to the court, he was asking the court to declare the actions of the majority unconstitutional. Essentially, the issue before the court, whether or not the majority decision was constitutional. The court did not even address that issue. I mean, it didn't go too far with that issue. Now, the court, in their opinion, cited a case called Snow versus House of Representatives, when Edwin Snow was a Speaker of the House. And the same thing we see happening in the Kofa today, they wanted to remove Edwin Snow without adhering to due process of law. That case went all the way to the Liberian Supreme Court. Liberian Supreme Court in the Snow case held that the way in which they were trying to remove Snow, it was unconstitutional. The court was very clear in the Snow decision. I am not sure why this court chose to use a legal term of art, ultra vires, without simply saying with specificity that majority black or respondent, your action here in trying to remove the speaker the way you want to move him is unconstitutional. Now, if you also notice in the court's decision, it says any member of the legislature that is acting ultra vires, okay, your action is unlawful. On and on you want to say. Now, my question to the court would be, when you say any member, what are you referring to? Are you referring to the majority black, or are you referring to the minority black? Or in fact, are you referring to the Senate? All of these people combined consist of the legislative branch of government. I would have hoped the court would have clearly stated who it was actually referring to. Are you referring to the respondent, which is the majority black, or are you referring to the petitioner? In Kofa brief to the court, he was the petitioner. He was asking the court for something. You were the petitioner. The court could have cut all of this nonsense we see happening and simply said, the respondent, the majority black, you're acting unconstitutional or you're acting ultra vires. Then we know, we all would have known from the very language itself that we know who the respondents are. We know who the petitioners are. So my point here essentially is that ultimately, they did not follow their own rules. They did not adhere to the constitutional provision, but the court had a duty to be very clear in its dispensation. And I'm hoping that in the next couple of days, we know that a bill of information was filed by Kofa lawyers. In the next few days, I'm hoping that the court comes up with a more clearer decision.
Thank you. Before I go to another panelist, let me just stay with you and ask you this question, Councilor Freeman. With all of this going on, the Supreme Court decision, the Attorney General interpretation, we have some Liberia, including some of our panelists here, thinking that that Kofa should just, for the sake of the Liberian people, should just resign and let bygone be bygone. Let he just resign because like Bishop Hager said, his colleagues have no confidence in him, and he's not really going to do the job of the Liberian people. What do you think about that position?
Look, I am not a fan of Fanti Kofa for reasons. Okay. Now, having said that, there's a reason we have rules in place. There's a reason we have laws in place for consistency in some instances. Okay, for predictability, to predict how things are going to happen. In this court, this Supreme Court, as I said, in the Snow case, the Supreme Court laid down a clear decision. Your action to remove Edwin Snow is unconstitutional. Now, I know people are saying Kofa should step aside for the sake of the country, but why can't the court simply say, we're going to stand by our earlier decision, or we're not going to stand by our earlier decision? To ask Kofa to basically just simply step aside creates a slippery slope. The slippery slope here is, that means we're not adhering to our own principles of law. That means that anyone can just jump up one day and say, hey, we don't want this person. and without adhering to the governing rules, we're all going to say step aside. The only way we build a stronger democracy and a stronger legal and judicial sectors in our country if we can adhere to our own rules. The rules in the Constitution is the very foundation of our democracy. So if we simply just shove it under the rug and say, in the sake of the country, step aside, then essentially we're not moving forward as a country. So why we want the country to move forward, it is also important for us to test the system. And that's what this case does. It's testing the system. So I applaud Kofa for wanting to set the kind of precedent. That precedent is already set in terms of what the court has decided in the past. The case in the Snow case is very similar to what we see happening here. They went to Bento City and they voted to remove Edwin Snow without according him due process. The court said you were wrong then. The court should have simply said you are wrong now. Same facts, same circumstances. Okay, so look, I'm not going to. I know that the president, I'm told, have asked him to resign. I read an excerpt from Amara Corner asking him to resign. Those set bad precedent, and it creates a slippery slope we should not be encouraging in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Bishop Haggard. I want you to provide.
I want to honestly appreciate the brilliant explanation of the counselor. I know we all want the rules of law, but the case for me is a political case. And in political dispensation, there's some nuances. You cannot try to predict law in that kind of area. Kofa, as speaker, is to lead a body in an event where you have lost the confidence of majority. Even if we are going to follow what you call the law, how is it possible? Because before Kofa bring bill on the floor, you have to go through the different committee. The head of the committee say we don't have confidence in you. How will that function well for the betterment for the functioning society?
Was that a question to?
Yeah, that's a question.
The councillor. Mr. Jai Winkin, I will come to you, Councillor.
So, but let the councillor respond to my question, young man.
Let's hear from Mr. Weir first, and then if we have time before our first break, and then Councillor Freeman will address that. You're on mute, Mr. Weir.
We are interested to protect ourselves only when laws favor us. I'm looking at the bigger picture here. Granted that Speaker Kofa has all the right in the world supported by the Constitution. Whether you like it or not, he is ineffective to perform. He doesn't have the support of the people. Above that, the people of Liberia are above any other person. You may say you are violating the law. Well, the laws in Liberia, the last time I checked, those who are speakers, represented, they can order the arrest of citizens for their respect, which is also abuse of power. That's another topic. But there has been going on. Even if they were to sit, the name 49, if they vote for the next 20 years, if they can get it 49, then there will be no business in Liberia. I agree with the councillor in the sense that the Supreme Court, which is a separate and branch of government, should have been clear on the issue. But when it comes to whether Speaker Kofa right or not, as far as I'm concerned, they are being violating the rights of the Liberian people. They can only be framed on issue when it is in their interest. Lawmakers in Liberia, it is wrong for any lawmaker to order the arrest of anybody, but they do that, which is in violation of the law as well. But this is very specific. So what I'm saying here is that I'm not saying he's wrong, but again, they are being powered. The time is going. The Liberian people are not being self, and you cannot rule the people when you don't have the support. We see this here in America, where people step aside. It doesn't mean they are wrong, but the main reason for serving is for the people of Liberia. That is why I don't want to go into the marriage and this and that. It is not bad precedent because it is the interest of the Liberian people. He's not selling bad precedent to say he can come up with a point. It is true that he's right to do what he's doing. But at the end of the day, the Liberian people are the first. He will still be a representative. Yes, he's testing the system. That is okay. But at the end of the day, even if you were to go back today as a speaker and he has no trust of the people, how is he going to perform? That's the point. The victim in this case is not Kofa, it's not Mandela Black or Mandela, it's the Liberian people. That's my concern. So at the end of the day, they should all reason, they should all come together. Kofa and the other group, whatever Bwaka do is a different thing. But we should put the Liberian people first. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I come to Councillor Freeman, let me ask you a question based on what you just said. Now, who do you think is stalling the progress of the or legislature or the Liberian people, or making the Liberian people a victim? Is it Funanti Kofa, who you said what he doing you think is right, is lawful, or is it the majority Black, which you imply that what they're doing isn't right? Who do you think should step aside? Is it the guy that's you said is doing what is right or lawful, or is the guy that, or the majority Black that you know or imply that they're not doing the right thing? Mr. Weir.
Please repeat that question.
Yes, I was asking a question based on what you said. Who do you think is stalling the progress of this legislature or making the Liberian people victim in this whole rigmarole? Is it the guy Funanti Kofa that you said, even though he's right? Or is it the majority Black that you implied isn't doing what is right, but for the sake of the Liberian people, Speaker Kofa should step aside? In this case, who do you think should step aside?
When I started, I talk about the behavior of all the so-called lawmakers we have in Liberia.
Yes.
All of them have been violating the laws. In most cases, if you agree with me, any lawmaker can order the arrest anybody, call police to arrest somebody, which is not their function. That is a complete violation. We all agree. But at this stage, I don't want to either both parties wrong, especially the majority Bloc, if they cannot follow their own rules. If the number required is not met, that means it is wrong. At the end of the day, the house is dysfunctional. It is not functioning. But what I am saying, one has to be a patriot.
But my thing is, if you're saying the majority Black is in the wrong, why should Speaker Kofa resign or should step aside?
Okay, the reason why you should step aside, I will say that again. The name 49, okay. If the current quorum, as far as I'm concerned, they haven't reached that 49. So even if they one person left, but they both are holding their position.
Okay, thank you.
They can do that from now to Judgment Day. It will not change anything. But what I am saying, I'm not saying Kofa is wrong. But even though the council said it will be setting a bad precedent, but I think it makes sense that he is following the law. But at the end of the day, you should recognize that he has taught a lesson. But for the sake of the Liberian people, this is the position. He's stepping aside, but it doesn't mean he's wrong. That's what I'm saying here.
That mean, thank you very much. Let's hear from Councillor Freeman, and then we'll recognize the president of Prince Sharif, or Mr. Prince Sharif, I'm sorry, and then we will take our first break. Councillor Freeman.
Do you want me to respond to Bishop Hager?
If you can.
So I guess the bishop said his colleagues enter a vote of no confidence in him. And so therefore, if I heard you right, he should step aside. Is that your position, sir?
My position is it's a political situation
Okay.
that you cannot use the legal framework to address political situation.
Well, the court dealt with that issue. Now, keep in mind, there were 4 issues before the court in Kofa's brief to the court. In his initial brief, there were 4 issues. One of them was the illegal remover and the subsequent election of Corn. The other issue was the seizure of the draft budget. Then another issue was the removal of Marvin Cole and I think 2 or 3 other colleagues from their committees and the restructuring of those committees. Those issues were also before the court. Now, if you read the court analysis, the court classified the other issues that Kofa filed before the court as political questions. Under the political doctrine, the court said those issues are non-justiciable. In other words, the court cannot derive at a legal judgment, okay, because they are strictly political questions. Whether or not a budget, how the budget is dealt with, that's between the executive and the legislative branch. Or whether or not they decided to restructure the committee, that's a strictly political issue. So the court did not deal with the political issue that were before the court. On the removal of the speaker illegally, the Constitution set what is required. That is not a political question. The court went to several of its previous precedents, previous cases, in determining that it had jurisdiction in hearing this particular matter. Now, keep in mind, the majority group, the lawyer, Vani Shemram, one of his arguments before the court, his essential argument was that the court should not even hear the case because of political issue. That was part of Councilor Shemram's proffer to the court. The court had no jurisdiction. It's a political question between, there's the legislative branch of government. And the court, in dispelling that argument, the court cited Article 66 of the Constitution, where the court said we have jurisdiction. And the court cited some of its precedent cases. So I don't agree with you. That's a strictly political question. The political question that was before the court did not hear this issue. The court dispensed of this issue. And in the court's analysis, the court basically said why it did not address this issue. But on the removal, on the illegal removal of the speaker, that's not a political issue. Okay, that's something that the court has jurisdiction over.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman. Let's just recognize the presence of Mr. Sheriff. I'm sure you've been listening to the show, and then we'll take our first break. Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you. Thank you so very kindly for giving me the opportunity. I am very sorry that I am not on camera. It is because I am at work, and so that's why I am not on camera. But thank you for allowing me in. And let me just say thanks to the panelists this evening, this morning, or this afternoon, whatever the time is from the end of the audience. So thank you so very kindly. I think I listened to the last question that you asked, and also listening to the various points that was proffered by the previous speaker. There is one thing we want to say here. We want to be very clear and emphatic on this. Whoever that is calling for the resignation of Honorable Fonati Kofa in ignoring the law and what the Supreme Court have ruled, I think that individual needs to be arrested, and that person is or should be considered as one who is aiding and abetting atrocity, not only in Liberia, but also injustice in the world. Distinguished panelists and the audience that are listening to us, we think that Honorable Fonati Kofa is not standing up because of him. He's standing up because of the poor people who for a very long time have been victimized by the system, by people who feel that they have the power, they can do anything and walk away with impunity. What Honorable Fonati Kofa is fighting is impunity. What he is fighting for is to restore the rule of law. What he is fighting for is to ensure that the rule of law is the order of the day, and that the democratic tendencies that was left by His Excellency President Dr. George Manuel Weah, that we continue to live up to those tendencies and ensure that the peace and security of our nation is protected. Today, what we are seeing is a complete authoritarian behavior of Mr. Boyka and a tyrannic behavior. And this is the reason why we are saying that, Honorable Fonati Kofa, any attempt by you to resign, it means that you will be siding with people who over the period have long victimized our people, and they have committed heinous atrocity and walked away with impunity. The Honorable Fonati Kofa stand by the law. And it is unfortunate that today people who yesterday said that the previous government, that is the government of His Excellency President Dr. George Manuel Weah, according to what they said, the government was doing everything wrong. It is unfortunate that today we are seeing Mr. Boyka disrespecting the highest court in the land, and these people cannot condemn the behavior of Mr. Boyka. I am surprised by the Bishop Hager, and many others on this platform, that they cannot look in the camera and in the faces of the audience or the Liberian people and say, look, this is completely wrong, and these are some of the behavior that led us to the 14-year civil unrest in Liberia, that Joseph Newman Boyka is practicing it in this day, age, and time. But we want to say this, that look, the law is the law. We are not lawyers, but by the grace of God, we have the ability to comprehend and to read. And from all indication, we are seeing that what is happening in Liberia is a complete recipe for chaos. And if nothing is done, the Liberian people will rise up against the tyrannic regime, this dictatorial regime, and this particular, one will call it a complete carrot behavior. The Liberian people will rise up, and that time is coming. And that time is now. It is now. Watch and see. We will not allow Mr. Boyka and his gangster to continue to circumvent, to continue to disrespect, to continue to ignore the rule of law. If Mr. Boyka will go to the level of disrespecting the Supreme Court, then our democracy is on a trip. And patriots like us and many others on this particular platform, or panelists on this platform, must rise up to protect. If it calls for us to walk from the United States of America to Liberia, it is showing that our democracy is protected. That we will do. To protect democracy is not something that is light. It takes blood and sweat, and we are willing to do just that. In as much as Mr. Boyka has openly disrespected the rule of law, we, the defenders of our constitution and the rule of law, will ensure that we return the country to Stafford Coast ante, to make sure that the rule of law takes siege in that nation, as it was under the regime of His Excellency President Dr. George Manuel Weah. Again, I'm sorry that I am not on camera. It's because I am on the clock and I have to run somewhere, make my input while I am listening. But we are here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. Guys,
he really have so much to do.
Bishop Hager, we have
no Prince Sheriff can just come in, take 5-10 minutes and spray up nonsensical statement. You don't have anybody to comment on it. Prince Sheriff 6 years. So all the Liberian people. Look, you gotta be honest.
Bishop Hager, I have to take a break here. And for the record, I did not taunt anyone here tonight. I allowed everyone to make their point with whatever time they needed to use. But with that being said, guys, we come out with the president.
It is unfortunate that the bishop will be encouraging tyrannic behavior in Liberia.
Friend, you have to you're lavish the Liberian people money, stole all the money. The money finished now, you gotta be working and closing your camera. The money that they used to pay you.
This is why
it is about time, Bishop, that you speak truth to power. It is about time that you speak truth to power. You got to speak truth to power. It is about time that you speak truth to power.
The money they used to send you is finished now. They used to be on camera all the time talking nonsense. The money finished now.
We will have enough.
We are patriots and we will defend the Constitution. We will defend democracy. We will defend the order and the rule of law.
If you're
When did
watching
that start
us,
now?
we'll see you guys after our first break.
All right, thank you.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Attention all organizations, NGOs, and social clubs in and out of Liberia. Are you tired of relying solely on social media to run your operations? An effective web platform is your most important marketing tool, and that's where Tiamet.com comes in. Hello, my Liberian people. My name is Sophia, and I want you to consider this. 53% of consumers do online research about an organization before talking to someone from that institution. That means not having a website could be costing you opportunities. Step up your game and establish a professional online presence. Introducing our web platform, designed specifically for 501c organizations, small businesses, and political organizations, social clubs, etc. At Tiamet.com, we understand how important it is to make a great digital first impression, which is why we offer you all the help needed to develop, maintain, and host NGOs and small and big organization websites by giving you a full suite of services that includes automatic billing for members, membership and visitor portals, first-class design and functionality, and much more. The best part is, it only costs $20 per month. Upgrade your image today with our customized web design services. Visit www.tiamet.com to get started. This is a Liberian-owned business.
Introducing Suku Express, shipping from the USA to Liberia, offering pickup services from Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, and New York. Suku Express is very reliable, efficient, trustworthy, and seamless. U.S. warehouse and loading dock is at 54101 Tacony Street, Philadelphia, PA 19137. Contact 267-987-6821 or 267-437-6463. Then in Liberia, at Dry Rice Market, Bannersville Road. Contact 0775-245-666 or 0555-594-53.
Hey, this is Grace, the CEO of the founder Suku Express. Parcel your stuff good, valuable stuff goes in the plastic barrel. You gotta shrink wrap, you like the barrel, you gotta shrink wrap the barrel, protect your stuff. Boxes, useful, use shoes. Any box taller than me, I can't ship it.
With Suku Express, your worries are over. Ship with confidence and ease. Thanks for doing businesses with Suku Express.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, this is The Hard Zone, episode 3 of season 7. My name is Derek Yale. I'm playing host tonight, and I'm here with a team of panelists: Bishop Hager, Mr. Boda, Councillor Freeman, Mr. Weird, Mr. Woods, and Mr. Prince Sharif. And guys, we're almost at the end of the show, and you listened to the last comment from Mr. Sharif. So now let's get into the executive role in this legislative House of Representative Rick Monroe, and also the announcement that Mr. and Speaker Funati Kofa made earlier yesterday, that he's informed that within the next 24 hours, all of his security details will be removed from him, and he's willing to fight for the Liberian people and the Constitution. Mr. Wood, Mr. Boda, you guys have been quiet for the longest, so I'd like to start with you guys' position. What do you think about the executive role in all of this? And now Mr. Funati Kofa announcing that by tomorrow or today in Liberia, he will no longer have a security detail. Mr. Wood, you're on mute.
Yeah, I think what the councilor need to do is they want to take the security fine. but he must still maintain his ground. If he goes to the office and they lock the door before him, he should make it public. He shouldn't fight about it. Let him make good use of the court. Let the court be the final resolve for protecting our democracy in Liberia. You know, we will do things to have our own way, but prosperity is definitely going to judge us. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is about the third time or the fourth time these guys, corrupt government officials, have always tried to manipulate the system, and it resolves to chaos, and the chaos do affect the Liberian people. Because what's going to happen at the end of the day, we are hoping that the civil society will take a step into this thing. Because if they don't act, they are the victim. But I support Fonati Kofa to hold his ground 100%. Let the justice system prove to be a failure, like the executive, and the world will get to understand, and the rest will be history.
Thank you, Mr. Boda. Let's hear from you. What do you think about the executive plan to strip Fonati Kofa of his immunity, security, amid his refusal to resign?
I just think that the executive is in the wrong place. Completely in the wrong place.
Can you speak a little louder, Mr. Boda?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm saying the executive is in the wrong place to remove the speaker of his entitlement. There's no place for the executive to remove the speaker when he has not been removed from office. And I'm sorry, Mr. The president, I think, has become a part of the problem instead of being the solution to the problem. And I'm always about eating the candy, man. I'm sorry. But being a president of a nation, you shouldn't be involved in dividing the nation. If you don't want to build a nation, not to divide it. And he spoke about rule of law, protecting the rule of law in our country when he took over. And I think I don't know, he's forgetting what he spoke of. Being the father to unite our nation, he divided the nation more and more. What do I mean by that? If the first time we elected Speaker, Kun was the candidate for the Unity Party. And that just shed a better light on that intent. And you don't circumvent the system for your personal intent, which is so wrong. The House is where you lobby. Being a representative, you're supposed to negotiate. You get a vote, then you make a decision. You don't just come up with some fiasco numbers, say, oh yeah, we got a majority black. There's nothing called majority black. You should be able to lobby your colleagues in the House. Bring them over with your reasoning, the reason for which you don't have confidence in the speaker, and convince them and bring them over to you, and then go to the floor. We saw in the House of Congress when they wanted to move McCarthy. Those guys went to lobby their colleagues, and they had a vote. That's simple and easy. This is nothing about anything that we have to go through all this ring around here, and people have to put sides, right? And that's a point that somebody like Young Kanga in the Senate talking about let's take a vote and recognize the majority black. What a shame. What kind of a Senate are we having? Got power crazy and people who don't have any direction for that nation, but just want self-prestige, sit down and be a sycophant to anybody that come around. It's a shame to have these people in our offices, And because of ignorant loud, people always say that, oh, you're just forgetting. It's not about Kofa. The speakership is not for the Liberian people. So it's not about the Liberian people. The speakership is for the House themselves. The Liberian people, they're not elect speaker. They elect us representatives. So people coming out for the Liberian people, and not for Liberian people, because of their own interests, because of the budget, the fight for the budget is so packaging for themselves. So if they don't have anybody that want to push that thing to package for themselves, maybe Fonati is not in line with them today to package that, to align that package. So they want to get him out.
Thank you. Thank you,
Let me
Mr.
just throw a point. You remember when they had this situation where they said there was some money put in the budget? They don't know how it got into the budget. All the saga went on. It was the speaker. It was that. Then where all these trouble coming from? So I mean, I'm sorry, man. Liberian people should wake up. And those are my brother on the panel is here to think about Liberia, not just let it go. That's not how it works here, brother.
Thank you. Councilor Freeman, let's hear your take. What do you think about the executive position as far as stripping of Funati Kofa of his immunity, security details?
Very premature. President Bouaka took an oath to conscientiously uphold the Constitution of the Republic. He took that oath. And so to see them trying to circumvent the process, knowing that there is no such thing as a majority block and a minority block, and the court, even though the court decision, as I said, was not quite clear, but Kofa has filed an information with the court for some clarification now. My hope is that the Bouaka administration will restrain themselves and not be so overly presumptuous to strip this man of, what he is duly entitled to. So I think it's very premature. I think they are setting a very, very bad precedent. I would have loved to see the Kofa team file an emergency injunction against the executive branch, enjoining them from acting until the court hears this build of information that is now before the court. Look, I would implore the Bouaka administration to at least wait until this matter is heard before the court before taking that kind of really drastic action. I think it's highly uncalled for. We set a really bad precedent, and if we truly want to strengthen our institutions in Liberia, then we should all say to the Bouaka administration, what you're doing is wrong. And look, we have a system in Liberia, and we do have the system. The problem is that we have unscrupulous individuals who, for their own idiosyncrasies, their own personal gains, they will try to circumvent the system. Let me give you an example. We all remember when Brana Samukar ran to be senator in that country. And prior to his election, he was being prosecuted in Liberia for corruption, for misappropriating the funds of the military personnel, right? The matter, before it went to the Supreme Court, Samukar participated in the election under the CPP umbrella, and then he subsequently won in Lofa County. Now, Samukar appealed his conviction to the Supreme Court. The ANC, the National Election Commission, could not stop him from running because he was convicted. They put a stay on stopping and said, okay, well, go participate in the election. At least you've appealed your case to the Supreme Court. We will wait on the Supreme Court outcome. So after Samukar won the election, the National Commission said, we cannot seat you because the law is clear on this issue. Samukar appealed to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court eventually in 2021, I believe in February of 2021, came down with a decision that says that, Mr. Samukar, you cannot hold that seat because while you were in office, you violated Article 50 and 51 of our criminal code. So we do have the system in the country, provided we allow the system to work and we put in people with integrity. That will help strengthen our institution. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we all need to advocate for. So I hope the Bouaka administration will, take a lead from that incident that happened in the Samukar case, instead of stripping the man of his authority, wait for the Supreme Court to hear this matter again because it's before the court again.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman. Let's hear your position on this, Bishop Haggard. What do you think of the executive stripping of Funati Kofa of his immunity, his security detail?
Yeah, I truly believe that we all need to be careful because right now it becomes a political game. To come here tonight and say the government have removed the security of Kofa, I think, like the councillor said, we are trying to predict something that have not happened. Kofa came on the Facebook. I'm not going to respond or say something that the government has done such. He right now, 3 hours ago, there's a Facebook I would expect to see from the Ministry of Information or a press conference from the official source of government. So whatever is being written on Facebook, I reserve my comment on that. So I don't want to use to get involved in the political gamemanship. I'm not here to gain favor of something from Liberian people. I'm here to address an issue. So until the government comes, the government have what I call official channel of communication. I'm not going to be responding. And if your show going to be boiled down to being a propagandist of the CDC, let us know, because you are just speaking the narrative of the CDC, because every other thing is that way you are doing it. Let hope and see what the government official position is. Tomorrow we are going to get that, man. So I'm not going to respond to that. This is a serious show for you, the facilitator, to be sharing a CDC propagandist, to become a propagandist for the CDC. I'm saying to you, let the government address that issue officially. We're going to comment, but right now, I'm not going to be commenting on Facebook posting. I myself can post so many things on Facebook. Facebook is not a reliable source of information. Thank you.
So by that statement, we shouldn't take anything the post on the Executive Mansion Facebook page seriously.
If it is on the Executive Mansion official Facebook page, you can take it. I'm talking about individual.
That was taken from Fanatic Kofa official Facebook page.
Fanatic Kofa is now a party to what is happening. So I'm not going to use a statement right now or whatever you say there to judge the government action until the Ministry of Information come up and make a press statement. Then I can say something official. Right now, I'm not going to say anything. I just want to say to us, please realize that Liberia is not unique with all the political maneuvering taking place. I did my research. There are so many parliaments around the world where these similar issues are taking place. The political dispensation, testing, the political equation must happen. Nothing wrong with that. There are laws and policies and things are developed. We should not think that Liberia is different from all the other countries. Is there any perfect system? No perfect system. Let me be very categorical. There is no perfect system in the world. And Liberia is not unique. We are all learning the process. What did the president do? President Joseph
Bishop Hilgard,
his friend and brother Kofa and said, listen, in the interest of the Liberian people, this thing is going too far. The right thing to do, just let it go. And it's not an inherent position that you're born with. You are speaker before you began speaker.
Let's
take
you. A statement from the word.
You're cutting me off when Prince Sherry is talking. You don't cut him off. You gain 10
minutes.
of nonsensical things here.
Let's hear from Mr. Wood and then we'll go to Mr. Sheriff.
Bishop Hagar, what will you say? We the Liberian people be asking President Boycott. The $600,000 that were given to the inaugural committee that he appointed Miada Formula to chair. Since January, we're asking this president to give out a report. What did he say to us about the report? We stay asking him, what did he say? And when you come here condemning Prince Sharif, you know different from Prince Sharif when he was supporting actively the CDC. And you got to be careful, Bishop. Because if not so, you will go down. Following this government, you're going to go down with the government. You, my brother, please don't put your neck on the line for this government. The government got no success story in 11 months. Thank you.
Mr. Sheriff, let's hear from you. What do you think about the executive stripping
You should have made sure the last because he talks too long.
All right. So let me first of all start by saying, those of us who are very religiously inclined, whenever you hear people saying that there is no perfect system, or nobody is a sin, that is a cushion for people to commit dangerous crime and to sin against their own holy communion. Anytime you hear that word from any religious person, nobody is perfect, and there's no perfect system, it means they want to do bad things, they want to sin. And this is what I am hearing from people who support this particular risky mission. Look, all of the indicators are very clear that Mr. Boyka has proven to the Liberian people and the world that he has zero appetite to maintain the peace of Liberia and to respect the rule of law. I'm going to give you 3 instances. Mr. Boyka took over, just as the previous panelists just, enumerated. He took over, and what we saw, the first thing that we saw from Mr. Boyka was rampant corruption. Mr. Boyka was giving almost about $600,000. That money was given to cronies and gangsters around him. That money was mismanaged, misused. Up to now, we are yet to see a report from the RAA as it relates to that money. What came of it? Honorable Sylvester Grispe went to NASCOP. They play poor people, but people, let's put it in the way. They play poor people, then keeping their money so that when they leave job, or today or tomorrow when they retire, they can go there and be taking $20 to be eating it. Joseph Nyuma Boyka, that was the first place he went and instructed Sylvester Grace to go there, go take the people money and go eat it. Almost 500,000 of poor people money was taken and was eaten. Up to now, we are yet to see a single report. Fast forward, let's even forget about this. The $22 million that was given for road rehabilitation, that particular money we saw at the House of Senate, the Public Works Minister, Gooding, going there and apologizing to the Liberian people representative and said that indeed, they, to some extent, they mismanaged it. That is very clear. Let's look at what happened at LRRC. Refugee then were in Ghana. The people say you leave from Ghana and you go back to Liberia. There were almost $1 million that were allocated for their repatriation. You and I know what happened. Under the government of President Boyka, almost $1 million was mismanaged from that particular repatriator funds. We saw what happened here. What came of that? Absolutely nothing. Let's look at the yellow machine. These people came from nowhere and said, oh, we get yellow machine, we'll be bringing yellow machine in the country. At the end of the day, what became of a yellow machine story? Somebody will say in our common Liberian way, a left in Vla. We're just talking about Nicotech. Nicotech, one of their own ministers in presence of Matthew and Nyemplu, he raised the issue. What became of Matthew Nyemplu? Today, Matthew Nyemplu is a history. This government is running after Matthew Nyemplu to be able to eliminate him on the face of the earth. Now, let's even leave that. Let's forget about that. Let's look at the most recent one that has to do with the tenure position. When the Supreme Court instructed Mr. Joseph Nyuma Boyka that Mr. Boyka, you cannot go this particular route. These people are occupying tenure position. So therefore, do what is right. What did he do? He bypassed the Supreme Court and said, you people are suspended. As I speak to you, we are still under suspension moving forward. So look, we can give more than 1,000 different indicators to show that Mr. Boyka is somebody who does not respect the rule of law. And that's the reason why we were enforcing to respect the rule of law. Because the credential that we have set, the credential that the CDC government have set for our democracy in Liberia is something that is enviable, borrowing from the United States ambassador at the time, McCarthy, to Liberia, that our democratic profile is enviable. We cannot come from an enviable, a most unique democratic platform, honor His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah, and have an 80-year-old man trying to plunge this nation into chaos. Then we sit and fold our arms. In a nation where we get about 75% of our population very young, energetic, and able to do things, then you get an 80-year-old man, one who
hostage. You say we must sit down. Look, we have two options for Mr. Boyka. We saw the information coming from the speaker, where the speaker is telling us that very soon, according to Mr. Boyka, he's going to be taking the security detail. We are saying, and we want to be very emphatic, we will provide 10,000 human beings. We will provide 10,000 human beings to ensure that the honorable speaker is protected by the Liberian people. Again, as I said previous, and I will say again, the speaker is now fighting Mr. Joseph Numa Boyka. He is fighting against the culture of impunity. He is fighting against the old system that people have misused power and walk away with impunity. He is fighting against that normal Liberian thing. Hey, my people, for the sake of peace, let leave it, let it be. Peace is not sick. Peace is never sick. And there's the reason why we must ensure that all of us stand by this particular speaker, because he stands for the right thing. This is a contradiction. Joseph Numa Boyka said he wants to fight how you call a crime in the country, war crime. If you, Joseph Numa Boyka, if you don't have even the energy, the ability, the audacity to be able to say, look, you know what, let's start doing the right thing. Then you say you're going for war crime. No wonder why these people kill Prince Johnson. No wonder why they kill Prince Johnson. These are all mirage from Joseph Numa Boyka. He's not serious to fight the issue of impunity in our country. He's not serious to fight it. There's a man that was signing code of conduct. What a contradiction. I think that yesterday or so, the man was signing code of conduct. If it is any serious country, Joseph Numa Boyka now will be discussing about his impeachment. But remember, and those who support Joseph Numa Boyka want to say this, that look, if Mr. Boyka will continue to behave like this, we can assure him that at the end of the day, he will land himself in Saw Beach, because he will not walk away with impunity. We know that 2029, His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah will be coming back very strong. And when President Weah comes back, we will ensure that Joseph Numa Boyka will have his day in court, and Saw Beach, he will land in Saw Beach.
Thank you.
We cannot continue to do this.
Mr. Sheriff, thank you very much. I don't know if I've taken you on this, Mr. Jawakin. We are on the executive plan to strip Speaker Kofa of his immunity and security to have had or taking you on that. I'm not quite sure.
No, that's why I see that Sherry is not addressing that issue. He talks a lot of stuff about the past. Look, why it is true that I am saying Kofa should give peace a chance, but it is wrong if the information is true that the Boyka government is planning to take away the security of the speaker. That is not right, because he has not been removed officially as required. The case is still in court, so we should allow the court process to complete before he can take any decision. Moreover, I see people are passionate about protecting the rule of law in favor of this particular position. If Speaker Kofa were to maybe advocate a case, maybe the reduction of their tenure, and people were on the other side say no, or if we were fighting about the reduction of their salaries, then of course I would say it's a patriotic fight. But I will repeat this. I know Liberians are good at protecting the law, benefiting them, not Liberian people. No matter how the case ends, Kofa should realize that the purpose of being a representative is to serve the Liberian people. He can still serve the Liberian people without being a speaker. It is true, he is right, he is being removed in violation of the body, but all of us here agreed that here in the United States, we see that happening, where people can say, you know why, for the sake of this is a distraction, I am removing myself from this. That's what I'm saying here. It's nothing damaging our laws in our country. It has no impact of anything. It will never change anything. one man removal or one man giving way doesn't change anything. Yes, he has a right to pursue, but at the end of the day, you should realize that Liberian people are the reason all of them are elected. If this case, I'll repeat, if the case were about Kofa is pursuing a case or changing the rules to protect the Liberian people, it's a different ballgame, but he is protecting himself. Then all of them are always protected. Besides Kofa, any of them would have done the same thing. So I'm not seeing Kofa in this case as a hero, because there are a lot of stuff that are going on. They are doing nothing to protect the interests of the Liberian people but themselves. He is only fighting because it has to do with him. That's my point.
Thank you, Mr. Jawikin. We are just our final question before we take our break and then come back for our final segment. It's to you, Mr. Boda. What do you think of Bishop Hagar refusal to comment on the executive stripping Speaker Kofa of his immunity and security detail? What do you think?
Well, I think that's.
And I'm asking you because earlier you expressed your disagreement, your disappointment in some of the position that Bishop Hagar is taking in this issue. Now I'm asking, what do you think of him refusing to comment, even though Fanatic Kofa posted that on his official Facebook page?
Well, the reason I think he may have refused to answer it because he already has a side that he's standing on. So if you are already taking a side, it doesn't make sense for him to comment on the position of the government because you already know the position. He said he was trying to defend the government before we even started. He made that was first intro statement that he made. And the executive branch of government is just in the wrong in this situation. Completely in the wrong. And I understand he needs to move some stuff around, but he has a lot of things in his toolbox to work with. The House has their own issue, which is some conflict with their own rules and conflicting with the Constitution. He can do a lot of things as an executive instead of rushing up a budget. What is in a budget to benefit the Liberian people? The budget is all about their salary. The salary of legislature, the salary of executive, and so forth. When you look at the budget, what is in the budget for education, healthcare, the thing that the people need most? Think about the budget. The budget is all about the executive and the legislature. There's nothing that, what kind of law are they making? If you sit back and look at
that's my point.
what kind of law have they ever passed in the last 18 years or 20 some more years coming to affect the Liberian people's lives? All year is about budget. Then not one law he can point to and say this is the law that made the benefit. So far, the only thing they did was one thing I can think about was the law they made about rapes, the rape cases.
Thank you.
Other than that, what are they benefit? Would the people benefit? Their salary bigger than the budget for the burial district. Their benefit bigger than the burial district. So what are they there for?
Thank you, Mr. Thank you,
Mr. Boda. You keep if you're not careful, you can be charged with contempt. You keep condemning our legislature. They are working and they are doing great. So please be very careful. They are working and they are doing great. I can cite a lot of laws that have been enacted for the betterment of Liberian people. I know you have issues, yes, but you cannot come on this on a public platform and say the people are not doing anything. So let's just have a calculate of all the laws that were being passed. So you got to inform the Liberian people. I'm not here to defend the legislature. I'm here to say that they are not doing nothing. It's far away from the truth. There are so many laws that are being added.
What are the laws? Just show me some of them.
We have that discussion. We can call on the chief clerk of the House of Representatives.
You don't have to call the chief clerk.
All the laws that have been passed. That's what I'm saying. Mr. Boda, let me be categorical tonight. The Liberian people have not given you any mandate to speak for them.
What? They gave you mandate to speak for them, right?
No, but then you can't come here tonight and start speaking on the Liberian on behalf of the Liberian people. You are not being given any mandate.
I got the right to speak.
No, you have the right to speak for you, but not for the Liberian people because you are never being given any mandate.
Who are you speaking for?
I'm speaking for myself.
So I
yourself.
want you
You
to just
spoke by government to
infuse and
yourself.
say, oh, the Liberian people. I want this
Defending the
gentleman,
executive, then you say you're
I
speaking for
want this
yourself.
gentleman to call the chief of clerk of the
Come on,
House of Representatives. So you come here and list
the
all the
hypocrisy that
laws
you
that are
are
being
in,
acted.
that's
So you understand it.
hypocrisy. You say you're defending the government, then you say you're speaking for yourself. And the Labour, you let out the government, then you say you're speaking for yourself. You say you're defending the government.
What I'm saying to you, when you come here on the public
now you're
platform and
saying
say
to me,
the House of Representatives are not doing anything, I think it's far away from the truth. What I'm
you
saying
be
to you
wrong.
is we will call upon the chief of clerk of the House of Representatives and let come inform the Liberian how many bills have been passed. There are NGOs that are tracking. There are NGOs that are tracking all the laws and bills that have been passed, and every year we get performance report. You can't come here and say no, they're not doing anything because you don't like what is happening.
I said they're
No,
not doing anything.
it's wrong.
Look at that. How many money they telling they getting paid? And they're like, oh, they're not doing anything.
Derek.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you.
Bishop.
That's if you're watching us, this is the Hot Zone. This is episode 3 of season 7. Again, just to remind the audience of our disclaimer here. All of the positions offered tonight, it's not the official position of the network, but that of the individual panelists that will be offering them, or that is offering them. With that being said, let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll give you guys the opportunity to close on this episode. Until then, we'll see you guys after the break.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Julipan Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great your country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, or rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Krantz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Celebrating the lives of our dearly departed loved ones is no easy task. That's why you become family the minute you walk through the doors of the Exodus Funeral Chapel. Exodus Funeral Chapel is deeply committed to helping you navigate your way through this difficult time. Our services are reliable, affordable, and professional. Call us, visit our website, or feel free to stop by in person for your consultation. At the Exodus Funeral Chapel, we believe in the dignity of your loved ones. Empathy and respect is the goal of our staff. Exodus Funeral Chapel. Empathy, respect, and dignity.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from. You're watching the Hard Zone on episode 3 of season 7, and this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yali. I'm playing host tonight, joined with my team of panelists, Mr. Martin Boda, Mr. Jai Winkin Wea, Mr. Wood, Bishop Hager, and Councillor Freeman. We are at the very end of the show. We have just the closing position of the panelists, and then we will draw the curtain. And just by way of announcement, we're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the LRTM live page on Facebook, and we also stream this podcast on YouTube and the Liberia Radio and Television Network. So with that being said, guys, I would like to come over to all of you for your closing position. Mr. Wood, I would like to start with you. You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you again for the opportunity to sit among these distinguished gentlemen to throw light on Liberia. Liberia is our common patrimony. Liberia is all we have. Whatever happening in Liberia, no matter where we are, we must be concerned, and we are concerned about Liberia. The governance of Liberia today is of grave concern to us because it is 44 years since our country turned upside down, and we cannot continue like this. And what brought us to where we are is bad governance. Instead of it getting better, it's getting worse. And we cannot have a country where one man will want to be a supreme president, who is not bringing some transformation, who is not bringing some creativity, some innovation to make it better. But yet instead they are taking time off to take us backward. We are concerned about the population of Liberia. Our people are illiterate. They are ignorant. They have been pushed to the point where they appreciate their suppressors. We cannot sit and allow this to happen. We have to create the awareness. So for every one of my colleagues on this platform, we have a moral responsibility. Prosperity is going to judge us. We have to be careful as to what we say, the decisions we make, the utterances we make. It must be in the interest of our people, not in the interest of individuals, because these individuals will expire. The institutions, the political institutions will expire, but the Liberian people will remain, and the country of Liberia will remain. So I want to say thank you for this opportunity, and we will not resist speaking truth to power. We're not going to consider our personal relationship with those that are in leadership today. The best thing we can do is to tell them that what they are doing is right. When it is right, when they're doing wrong, we'll tell them that it is wrong. And this government is proceeding in the wrong direction. In the wrong direction. Those that voted this government in thought this government was going to do better than the government before. But this government has proven to be worse than the government that just expired. So I'm urging President Bouaga to go back in his closet and come back with a new approach for 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Philip E.P. Wolves II. Thank you for your contribution here tonight on this episode and this podcast. Let's come over to you, Bishop Hagar. Give us your closing position.
Well, thank you very much. One thing I know, we all had our own opinion. It is a good thing, healthy for our national conversation. We all cannot see things the same way. I respect all of my friends and even all the different political actors in Liberia. I respect your view. That will make our democratic process to grow. That we all have different views. What I don't want for people to interpret yet is that it is wrong for me to hold the view that I hold. It is not wrong. I will not question or judge you based on the view that you are holding. Then we have 47, if not 48 now, representatives duly elected by their people, impose confidence in them, that have different views from the other people. They are not wrong. They must be respected. Their view must be respected. If Liberia, our nation, will go forward, we have to understand and do something very important. Respect each other's opinion. Even though opinions are not facts, but they are very important for our national discourse. For me, I will say this, and I will repeat it. I will repeat this. The process, the due process of removing Konate, it went through the process. They had to tear. He challenged it. The process is still ongoing. When their mistake made, we cannot say no or yes. But for someone to say it was never done behind closed doors, they had a quorum and representatives were given the right to vote and they declared the vote of no confidence. That is how democratic process works all over the world. Liberians need to understand this.
We shouldn't come here and be thinking that our nation different. If it happened in Sudan, it happened in South Africa, it happened in Uganda, why can't it happen in Liberia? This is how human government work. That is what I'm saying. For me, Kofa, as a politician, as a leader of the House, he is not a leader. To lose the confidence of more than 2/3 of your colleagues that elected you, it means that you don't have leadership ability. You don't have the political mastermind. So you are not qualified to lead them. So the best thing for him to do, Kofa, if I had to talk to you face to face, in the morning, looking yourself in the mirror, even if you follow the due process today, and let go everything straighten up, you can still not run the House of Representatives. It will not happen. So even if you follow due process today and let agree, put everything together, follow due process, Kofa will still not be speaker. So it is better. If a woman don't want you, pack your load and go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar, for your contribution here and every other episode that you've been on. Councilor Freeman, let's hear from you.
I'll be really succinct. I think most of you have already said what needs to be said already. But I understand what you're saying, Bishop. But frankly and honestly, sir, you're wrong. We have a process in place. We have rules in place for a reason. Okay, we have it for consistency, for predictability, for an orderly functioning society. Okay, I do have a lot of respect for you, and I want to keep it that way. But let us not engage in these types of tactics to confuse people. It is important for us to be honest with each other. Okay, there's a reason we have let me tell you something. Today, up to this date, the president has still, and his officials have still not declared their assets. The law said they must do so. They haven't done it yet, sir. You were on the show.
The asset not declared.
No, the president's asset was not declared, sir.
The asset was so published in the newspaper.
No. Do you know how much he had in his account?
But I'm just asking, was it not declared?
No, it was not declared.
So what did you see in the newspaper?
You have to look at the intent of that or what the law is. The intent is for transparency, and if
let's protect Councilor Freeman. I'm sorry.
And if that's the intent, sir, if the intent is for transparency, the intent of the law is so that people can know what you have when you come into public office. It's not to say, "Oh, I declare and nobody see it." That's not the spirit of the law. So let's be honest about these things. Because
I'm going to ask you because I saw an asset declaration. Let me clear now. I want to be informed. I saw the president declare his asset. The commission responsible for asset declaration said the president did declare his asset. So I want to know whether it is true or not.
This is the final segment of the show, and you know the rules. You've been here from day one. Allow Councilor Freeman. Let's protect Councilor Freeman.
I'm not asking the councilor. I'm not interrupting him. I just want to know.
This is not the part of the show. This is not the part of the show. Let's allow.
So Bishop, if I may continue, sir.
Thank you.
It is important for us to follow rules. That's how you keep a society in order. Okay. So without going too all, I heard what Mr. Sharif was saying, Prince Sharif, and he was naming all these laundry lists of stuff and pretending as if the CDC administration was not one of the most corrupt administration. He pretended as if we don't know that Samuel Tuer said he used $25 million to mop up the economy and no one knows and can give account of that. He pretended as if when George Weah came in, he didn't build all these duplexes and claimed for it to be his own. He also pretended that Claire Weah is not running around, that she suddenly owns some kind of foundation the country built on taxpayers' money. It's the hypocrisy in Liberia. Just the same with you, Bishop Hagar. You want to ignore all of the wrongdoings of this administration because you support them. What about the Liberian people? So Mr. Sherry was on the show earlier. He gave a laundry list of all the things he claimed that this government is doing wrong. And I agree with him. But what about the fact that the one he celebrates, he's talking about Dr. Weah, this guy's trying to earn a title. He doesn't even know what it means. He said, well, Dr. Weah did this and enviable, all kinds of words he's spilling out here. Does he have the fortitude to call on the CDC government and say they too must be prosecuted for their indiscretions and for their criminality? But let's be honest. That's why it's important for us to have laws and rules in place so that when people do the wrong things, we know what to expect. Not this thing where when you come to power and when someone is doing something, everyone that support you hail you. No one see. Prince Sherry seemed to be a very eloquent man. He seemed to follow the news in Liberia. Is he not aware that George Weah under his administration was highly corrupt? So let's be mindful. This is about Liberia. Liberia is the common denominator. Let's not play games with the people. When it doesn't suit our side, then we are so verbose and so we have all these plethora of things to say, but when it suits our side, then we are quiet about it.
That's correct.
That's hypocrisy. And that's the Liberia's problem right there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Freeman. Thank you for your contribution on this podcast, as always. Let's hear from you now, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. And actually, let's hear from Prince Sherry because I understand he's at work and we don't know how long we're going to have him for.
He talks long.
Yeah. Mr. Sherry
should have been last.
I don't think Mr. Weah want to use his time to you, so let's hear from Mr. Weah first.
Because you go back to from day one. Okay, here's what I want to say. Like, I want to first of all respond to one of the posts on the screen. I'm not just preaching bag or being bag on, but what I am saying is this going election, I supported Gongo. I didn't support Weah. I didn't support Boakai. Because I believe that in Liberia, we need rule of law. And I also believe that Gongo would have served Liberian better to put in place what is missing in Liberia for people to respect the rule of law. When I left Liberia, when Boakai gave that money out, I spoke against it on this show. But what we are saying is about Liberia. Why it is true that Kofa has the right, nobody should deny that he's fighting for himself. All of them fighting for themselves. All the lawmakers we're talking about, they never talk about the reduction of their salaries. They never fight for the provision of water supply to the people of Monrovia or Liberia. They never talk about removing the scholarship they have in their bills. They never talk about the reduction of the kind of money they have for gas, all the kind of stuff in the interest of the Liberian people. I can go on and list. They make money more than the representative of the United States. They never talk about the reduction of that as well. We are talking about somebody who loves the country, who protects the rule of law. The Liberian people suffering. All I'm saying in short is Kofa has the right to fight for his right. But in doing so, you should also think that the Liberian people are suffering as a result of what is going on. All of us on this show know, here in the United States, people give way when they realize that they become distraction. It has been going on for a long time. It was wrong also for Boakai, if that is right, to talk about removing his protection, all this stuff, because the case is still ongoing. I haven't seen any Liberian lawmaker to say, you know why, all this scholarship money we have in our budget, let's make a national people can apply for this thing based on competency. No. But they take this thing and give it into their girlfriend, boyfriend, and the list goes on and on and on and on. But each of them will stick to a little thing in their own interest. Kofa is not fighting for the Liberian people because he's not even talking about the reduction of the years of service itself. Something that is in the interest of the people. A little mission to say, you know why? It is wrong for a lawmaker to build to handle project money in their districts. That is wrong. They're supposed to make law. They're not supposed to build houses, clean it, this and that, using the money. That is not lawmaking. This is not why you're advocating here. He is protecting his job. He's fighting for his job. He's not fighting for you. So I want you to understand that. I'm not backing Boakai. I'm not backing any of these people. But at the end of the day, it is you Liberians, all of us, we are suffering. For those of us here on this show, every month we chip into our people in Liberia because the country is not running well. People who are in power, they don't put the Liberian people first. So not because today Kofa is following the rules because it has to be, to do with him, his position. That's why he's fighting for, not for you. I am not against him fighting, but if you go beyond fighting for a position, I hope you should fight for doing something for a district. I hope you should protect the right of students. I hope they should pass a bill for people to get money to go to school. Not people should not get gift. Go to representative office, sit that whole day, sit in the hallway to follow them for school fees. They should pass a bill where people can apply for these things. That's what I'm talking about, not about positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jawokinwuya, for your contribution here as always. Let's now go over to you, Mr. Boda. You have the option to go now or yield your time to Mr. Sheriff.
No,
What do you want?
Sheriff, let me finish your closer up.
Go ahead.
I understand Liberian, what my advisor Liberian and goes directly to our branch of government. They were sworn in to protect and uphold the rule of law, and they all took that oath. Let's forget about Fanatic Kofa removal. They are there to represent their constituents in our government. Every district is represented in that house, in our law. And for the simple fact that if these representatives are there to represent our people, they can put aside their differences and look at their budget, honor the leadership, and pass the budget and come back and resolve that speakership issue. But the rule of law must be upheld in this country. That is paramount to all our democracy that we want to build. We don't want to have a lawless society where every time we just go with impunity. And this go to the executive, the Senate, and the judiciary. It has to be clear with the people they represent, the Liberian people who are suffering, the masses. It's a shame the only republic in Africa that we go to our knee to this level, that we have no rule of law in our parliament. It's a shame. Disgrace. Look in front of your parliament. You see people fighting, representatives coming outside, blocking somebody, attend to security. What a shame and disgrace. What are you telling the generation, the young people? What precedent are you setting? What model are you leaving with these people? Fighting in the street for something that can be resolved within your own corridor. What is it that the fight is over? Is it by the Liberian people? What is it for the Liberian people that you're fighting for? What is it that you're fighting for? Please, Mr. President, the executive, and the various branch of government, put the Liberian people first and stop the cheap politics and your self-interest. And I carry on nowhere in our society. It really hurt my heart to find out that our nation, Liberia, is going down the path every day. We're going behind. Every time we move one step forward, we take 100 steps backward. Liberia needs to wake up. This is a recipe for disaster that we're finding today. If we don't resolve the issue amicably with sense and directions, Mr. Boakai, you're the oldest state man that we have now. I hope that you can sit and think about this that you're living today. So my appeal to Liberian people, hold your lawmaker accountable. The next time we come to the ballot box, let's send the fools home and let her go sit down and go do what they can do. They are not representative of our districts. They are representative of themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Boda, for your contribution here today. And as always, Mr. Prince Sharif, let's take you last and then we'll draw the curtain to this one.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me say thanks to the panelists and to our audience again. We want to say thank you so very kindly for always being on here. I want to start this last segment by saying that we appreciate the Liberian people for standing on the side of the rule of law. And this is the dawning of a new day. And that's why we are always grateful to His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah, who over the period of 6 years took government from the executive mansion and carried to the people there in Blaba. He took the presidency from up Capitol Hill and took it to the people there in Jenewinde. He took the presidency from up Capitol Hill and carried to the people all the way there in Bokonji. That today the people of Liberia, they themselves, can see what is happening and at least to some extent question government and the way things are. Today, almost every Liberian, including the pepper seller, the motorbike riders or paper riders, or even those that sell coal, are now discussing the politics of Liberia and speaking truth to power. We want to say thank you, Your Excellency, for infusing this sense of nationalism in all of us. Had it not been because of your hard work, people like Mr. Boyka would have get away with this thing that he is doing. But tell me, for God in heaven's sake, this issue is still in the courts of law. But Boyka will have the audacity to call the speaker and coerce him to resign. What are you smelling here? Is this not a kleptocratic government style? Why the issue is in court? Mr. Boyka will be brave enough to call the speaker and intimidate the speaker. I will take the people there from Ghana, all the privileges that you had as a speaker or you are having as a speaker, will take it from behind you. Let me just break the news here. We have informed our international partners about the way Mr. Boyka is proceeding. And we want to use this platform also to call on our international partners. You have spent a lot for the peace and democracy that today we enjoyed. You have spent enough. There were lives that were taken away in defense of what we have today. To see Mr. Boyka behaving in this way, it is not about Fonati Kofa, we'll continue to see. It is not about him. Fonati Kofa can be gone tomorrow. It is not about him. It's about defending the rule of law. It's about ensuring that people who are at the helm of power respect the rule of law. One thing I know in Liberia, there is this thing that is very common among people who maybe are to some extent, highly placed in government. I will do anything to you, nothing will come from inside. All of us know this. This is something that is very common. Anything I will do to you, nothing will come from inside. This is what has been happening. And today, it is just what Mr. Boyka is saying. To Honorable Fonati Kofa or to the rule of law. We can do anything to Fonati Kofa, nothing will come from who will talk about the president. Mr. Viosa Yuma Boyka, let me remind you, the last time I checked in our nation, we had a president by the name of Charles Gange Taylor who said, if your mind born you go, come on the street. We all know the story. I'm not going into that because this show is not for that. The last time that I checked, I remember we had a president in Liberia who took over 1970, 1980. At the end of the day, all of us know what happened. The last time that I checked, we had a government that people felt that they were never going to ever leave power. 27 plus years they were in leadership. Today, where are they? Let's even forget about the government, but let's look at the individual. We have people in government who felt that they were untouchable. Today, where are they? Mr. Bweka, we want to say to you that the way and manner in which you are leading this nation is bad. You still have an opportunity to make a 360-degree turn and ensure that you do the right thing. But we know that you will not listen because you are somebody who is allergic to listening to what is right. You are somebody who takes pleasure in disrespecting the rule of law. From the very beginning, you told us that you were able to look at very good small one and give it salt so that it can get fat for you to sell it. So we know that you were not listening when it comes to extorting the process and ensuring that the wrong thing is done so that your ego can be satisfied or so that you can achieve. You were doing like the story of the small billy goat. I'm not the one that narrated it. You said it, that you fed small billy goat with salt and you sell it to full men. So we know that. But we want to say to you, you have an option, and that option is either you respect the rule of law or you get ready to say goodbye to the executive mansion. For this democracy, there were other people who died. 300 plus thousand Liberians died in defense of democracy or the rule of law. We will not allow the blood of those compatriots, those patriots, to just be spilled in vain. This democracy that they died for, our other African brothers and sisters, they came to Liberia. They fought in defense of our democracy. Look at what happened in Liberia under the regime of His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah. Something that was unprecedented, that has never happened in the history of Africa. For a man, what the result is very rare, to concede defeat that the entire world was celebrating. Look at where we are today. Look at the Millennium Challenge Corporation reports on the corruption index under this government. Look at the rule of law under this government. No, don't believe me. Go to the MCC report. Go and read it. Not me. When I told you, say, oh, that CDC people, they can lie to where they did, they angry, they did. Go to MCC report. Go and read it. Go to the corruption index, the recent corruption index. Go there and go read about it. Because when I'm telling you, they say, oh, I lied. Go and go read what the people say. The United States just released a report on our governance system and said the corruption is deeply entrenched to the extent ministers are even extorting money. Look at the disgrace that happened these few days. I mean, security and the resident of the president, they're not asking people for money. They're not tend to, how you call beggars, asking people for money. Oh, you please give your money. I'm taking you. You're going to see the president. You please give your money. Is this not a sign that Liberia is retrogressing? When you see the president travel all around the world, this is the only president of recent, in our most recent history, that have traveled all around the world coming without no result. Only to come and tell us that they are memorandum of understanding. We are staying in the stage of memorandum of understanding. You use millions of dollars belonging to the Liberian people to go and tell about memorandum of understanding. Look, fellow Liberians, the redemption of Liberia is upon us. God will not do for you what He has already empowered you to do for yourself. We are in a stage where we must not allow tyrants to succeed in our country. And we'll defend our country. With all of what is happening, we are saying to Mr. Bweka, you have reached your Waterloo. If you will use your gun, you will use your gun to kill us. But we defend the rule of law. We are not defending for look, let's be very clear. Fonati Kofa is just, in this situation by somebody will say, maybe by other divine means or by coincidence. But this is not about Fonati Kofa. It's about respecting the rule of law. And we will ensure that Mr. Bweka respect the rule of law. You can't continue to kick the law of Liberia in the garbage like they will say that will look at you. Tell you position, you did it and you walk away with impunity. Look at our people that were killed in Grand Cape County. Up to today, as we speak, what happened? What happened today in Greater Accra? Nobody was accountable. But stay passing around with motorcar and blowing Serbia. What the parents of those, or the children of those who died, who were massacred under the instruction of Mr. Joseph Jomo Boyka, continue to languish in tears. Is this the kind of government that we voted for? Is this the change that you say you are going to bring? This man told us that upon he taking over, you are going to declare his asset. Where is his asset declaration? I hear somebody saying he declare asset. I will not be surprised one day while we are on this show, there is a serious thunder that will strike on some people who will want to ignore the truth. Will not be surprised. But again, we want to say to you Liberians, let us continue to stand and defend the Constitution. And it is the Constitution that we defend because it is the only thing that makes us to be who we are. My brother, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I really pray that next week we'll be here in full to discuss the issue, to ensure that we can be able to sharpen the contradictions that is then spilled out here by some of our people who know the truth and they don't want to say it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff, for your contribution here as always. And once again, to all of you esteemed panelists for your contribution tonight. And most importantly, to those of you watching us wherever on YouTube, Facebook, thank you so much for your support. Just by way of announcement, we will be back here next Thursday, same time, same network. But until then, I would like to draw the curtain to this podcast, this live stream tonight. Thank you, Mr. Boda, Mr. Jai Winkin-Wea, Mr. Sheriff, Mr. Wu, Councilor Freeman, Mr. Dennis, the two Dennises, Ms. Joa and Don Dennis, and all of the other panelists that continue to help to make this show a progress. And until then, I would like to wish all of you a pleasant good night.
I want make your I post for the photo, but I can see myself in the photo. Post. What happened to the photo? Now I can see myself in the photo. Post. The people that were laughing at the photo, now the people that I see shining in the photo. Post. I post for the photo, but I can see myself in the photo. What happened to the photo? Now I can see myself in the photo. The people that were laughing at the photo, now the people that I see shining in the photo. Baby, what happened to the photo? What happened? How you really tell it all the photo? Now I can see myself in the photo. I was standing right down there in the photo, but now I can't even see my shadow in the photo. Where deep, fly high in the photo. So shaka the money I see in the photo. They say your camera over door. They say your picture was not clear. If I your picture will be all clear.